No. Do you have your hair side? Maybe. Put it in my lawn. So I'm gonna let my lawn grow from like tall until it's over the car. And then I'm gonna cut around it. Nice. And then
Good, turn it back.
oh no, not a me. It's empty.
Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Hope you are all doing well. So I have an unexpected afternoon alone today, and I thought I would come on and make a video talking about the stuff that I've read in the last week. But first, I have a whole bunch of stuff I just want to chat about. Just life update stuff that I just want to talk about just because you're here and you're listening. So if you don't want to listen to all that, I will put a timestamp down in the description box. You guys can click on that to see my reading updates. But we've had a few, not like massive life changes, but just kind of a change in plan for the next couple of months. And it's kind of indicative of bigger things and blah, blah, blah. So I just thought, you know what? I just kind of want to talk it out here with my booktube friends. So yeah, today, not only are we not doing school, which I'll get to that more in a minute, but my oldest daughter and my third daughter are gone on dates. Everybody else decided to go swimming. My husband is at work, and I was just like, okay, bye, everybody. And then I was like, wait, I'm all by myself. That's not so bad, actually. And that's just kind of the direction I think that my life is going, where everybody just goes and does their stuff and mom just kind of stays here and holds down the fort, and I actually don't have a problem with that. So right now I have 6 kids living at home. I have 9 kids altogether. My 3 oldest sons are moved out. A couple of them are married, one of them has kids, and then I have 6 kids here still. So my other son, my 4th son, Liam, he is 16, and then I have 5 daughters who are 26, almost 20, 17, almost 15, and 13. So basically my 4th youngest are 17, 16, 15, 14. Close enough. And then I have my 2 adult daughters, 20 and 26. So I don't really have like a lot of heavy mothering responsibility right now. It's all like stuff that they want to talk about, right? But as far as like things to do, there's really not a lot of things to do anymore. And it's lessening and lessening by the day. They all help with chores, and as far as like their own personal survival, like they're all at survival age. But it's kind of weird, right? When you find yourself not having a lot to do anymore. But one of the things that we have changed, so we have decided to take a summer break. And so I've been suddenly surprised by a summer break and suddenly basically given 2.5 months to do what? I don't know. Chill out and read all summer long, pretty much. Usually we do school through the summer. We have for years. I usually school year round, homeschool. I'm homeschooling the last 4. And usually we homeschool all year long, and then we just take like extended breaks for holidays or vacation, or we're just done for a while or whatever. But they've been asking me for a couple of years, a couple of summers, if they could take the summers off, and I never will relent. I'm always like, nope, this is the way we do it. But this summer I was kind of like, you know what? fine. I give in. Because one of them has a boyfriend. They all have friends. There's stuff to do. Their friends are doing. And if they have a social life, then yay. I think I should let them have it. We'll figure it out. It'll be fine. So for the next 4 years, as I finish up homeschooling, I think that we are people who take summer breaks, and that's just so weird. But yeah, it has opened up the opportunity for me to think about just like chilling out and reading big stacks of books all summer long. And that just sounds glorious. I don't know what was wrong with old me, but new me says, yeah, let's do that. And I think like the bigger lesson for me here is just like giving up some control, right? Not that I'm like, sure kids, do whatever you want, but just there are things that I just get a little bit overprotective, over control-y. Like for instance, my 20-year-old daughter wanted to take them to the pool today. They are almost 14, 15, 16, right? And I'm so afraid like something bad's gonna happen. There's lifeguards there. They all probably could generally get themselves to a safe place if something was happening. A couple of them are actually pretty decent swimmers and could help. You know, it's just like, it's fine. It's really actually going to be fine. But I'm panicking, so then I just want to say, no, you can't go at all. And it's that kind of stuff, right, that I needed to quit. I just need to let go a little bit. And I've had to do that, right? Like I said, I have 3 kids out and I have 2 other adults, and so I've had to let go a little bit. But I think this is my summer of letting go even more. And they're good kids and they love the Lord and they want to live righteously. And so I probably just need to go let them be kids, right? Just let them go be kids. So that's what today is about. And so I've been thinking about some of these summer break things, right? Like my mom, when we were kids, like younger than my kids are now, but she'd bring us picnics outside, plant a sprinkler. We'd always have like a little pool we could cool off in, and just, you know, Kool-Aid and lemonade and popsicles all over the place. And like, I just need to do that stuff. I've been like a summer bummer for quite a few years now. Pretty much about the time that my oldest graduated, which was like 6 years ago, 8 years ago. Yeah, 8 years ago. And, you know, people started growing up, moving out, whatever. I think I've just like slowly become just a bummer in a lot of ways. So I'm going to climb out of that this summer. They're going to force me to. So all that's a good thing. That's why I titled this video Surprise by Summer Break, because surprise, I have a summer break. You also may have noticed that I did change my channel name, or actually just gave myself a channel name because I didn't have one. My name was just Sarah Coller. And now I have changed my name. I have given myself a name, Austin in the Ozarks, so that I could have a catchy name like everybody else. When I first started this channel, I named it after my literature blog. And then I was like, yeah, no, that doesn't really fit me anymore. So then I named it something else, and I was like, no, I don't really want that to fit me. So I just went to my name. I was like, I'm just going to be me for a while until I decide. But years ago, I actually secured Austin in the Ozarks as a blog name because I just thought that was cool. I thought, you know what, I might sometime do something with this. And then I never did. So I was like, I'm going to use that. And so my first little foray into the world of AI, which not really, because we've all been using AI ever since the internet got turned on, right? But into this new way of AI where you can actually, you know, generate really cool images rather than just really cool words and stuff. I had AI make me that pretty cover that you saw at the beginning of this video. And it's beautiful. Like, it's so perfect. They even got the costume like kind of close. So they got the bonnet right on. So it was impressive. There's a whole like Jane over here, and then like all the Ozarks. Like that's what there are many places where I live where that's what it looks like, right? Maybe not like the filtered lighting and the muted tones and the perfect flowers and all that, but general, like you can stand in a place and look out and you've got, you know, you've got your big cliff bluff thingies over here, and you've got your creek running down through the bottom of everything, and it's yeah, it was perfect. So it's kind of a perfect mix of my world and Jane's world. And so I'm happy with my AI. I was so happy. I almost wanted to thank you. I don't think that I'll be like a person who does a whole lot with the whole AI art thing, but it like took what was in my imagination and made it even more beautiful. So I was like, all right, points for the AI on this one anyway. Another thing that I have been doing is ordering and gathering things for Jane Austen July for my big giveaway. So if you guys weren't around last year, I did a giveaway at the end of July, but it was something that we kind of worked on all month long. So once July hits, I will put out a video talking about, actually it'll probably be like the last day of June. I'll probably put it out. And I will introduce my giveaway and show you all the stuff, all the prizes. And then I'll explain what we do, but I'll tell you now, just so you can be aware. What we do is every video that I make in the month of July, including that one that I'll do on the day before July, I do a normal video, but I always insert a keyword in there. So I'll just be like talking and all of a sudden I'm like, the keyword is, Victorian or whatever. And then when I say the word, you gotta keep track of that. And then I will have a way for you to enter that word along with like, your email or whatever to identify yourself in just kind of like a little spreadsheet thingy or whatever. I don't know. I'll give you a link and you'll enter that information into there. And so each video that I make throughout the month will have a keyword. So every time you catch it and you enter into that little thingy I'm going to make, that link, you will have another entry into the giveaway. So the more you watch and enter the giveaway, the more entries you have and chances you have of winning. So I've got several really good, I think, prizes. One thing is super special. My husband is actually working on for us. He is a crafty man. He is a Renaissance man. Like my husband just loves to learn new stuff and it's all over the board as far as the different things that he's interested in. And he's also kind of a conqueror. So once he's conquered that hobby, he likes to move on to another one. So we have a lot of really expensive supplies around this house because he's always wanting to try something new. And Father's Day and his birthday is coming up at the end of this month. So we're eating beans and rice so we can buy Daddy more hobby supplies. Don't tell him I said that. That didn't sound very nice now that I've said it. But it's also kind of funny. So moving on. Anyway, he is making something really special for us for the giveaway. And yeah, I can't wait to show you. It's gonna be really cool. So getting all that stuff planned out, and having a summer break. Actually, I'm really excited the more I think about this because I was telling Jamie just, I don't know, a week or so ago before we planned this, I was like, I would just love to just take all of July and just geek out on Jane Austen. Like Jane Austen July, judge. I'm like, I just want to judge out. We're being dorks and he's laughing. He's like, you totally need to judge out. He's like, I really think you should do that. And I'm like, yeah, but we have school. And he's like, he's like, whatever. He used to get on me all the time that when I wasn't doing school and I'm like, I'm having children. Thank you. Now that I'm not having any more children, he's like, yeah, you're fine. He's chilled out too over the years, which is great. But anyway, now I get to judge out in Jane Austen July, right? Because I don't really have to do anything. Whee! Because yesterday we went to the park with my grandkids and a few of my kids, and then, my son and his wife. And it was a splash park and they just opened up a couple of weeks ago. So I was like, you know what? This would be a great place for me to just come by myself with a picnic and a book. Because I can sit and read and then I get too hot. I can just go hang out in the splash park for a minute and then go back to reading. I don't really think anybody's going to care if this middle-aged frumpy woman is out there splashing around in the splash park. Are they? Is that creepy? Am I going to be creepy? Let me know, some of you younger moms. Would that creep you out? When I was a younger mom, I think I would have thought it was cute as long as I realized that she wasn't a stalker and she was actually just hot. But times have changed, so who knows? All right, guys, that's enough chatting. I have a stack of books here. I also made myself tea. Yum. And I found these, they're breakfast biscuits. Found them at Aldi. They have, I was gonna say butterflies. They have blueberries in them. Now I'm blushing. They got butterflies. Anyway, yeah, so I found these and they remind me kind of some of the tea biscuits that I've been served in England with tea. So I got them. I like them. They're pretty good. Anyway, that's what I'm snacking on while I'm talking to you guys. So let's get into the stuff, for the last week. All right, so last week I talked a lot about the Felicity books. I've been reading all of those like middle grade age Felicity books, the American Girl doll books, because I wanted to do the Red, White, and June reading event, but I didn't want a lot of heavy reading. And so I just thought, hey, I'll make it all middle grade. I think I got that idea from Alma. Alma, did you say that you're doing middle grade also? Somebody is. And so I read a lot of them. I had, at the end of last week's video, I had 2 more on the list that my daughter basically just gave me her stack of Felicity books and said, yeah, read them all. So I had 2 more to read. So I did read 1 more. This is Lady Margaret's Ghost. And after I read this, like, I kind of got over it. There is 1 more, and my daughter said it's her favorite, so I probably should read it, and I probably will before the end of the month, but I need a break. It's only the 16th. I got time. But I'm just kind of like, okay, I'm done. Like, it's just too much Felicity. But this one was actually by a different author, and in this one, there's just too much going on. Like, I think I might have given it, yeah, I gave it 2 stars. I was like, this is probably going to be fun. Like, it'll be a fun little kids sort of ghosty, suspense sort of story. I don't really read ghost stories, but, when it's like little kids. Like The Ghost of Dawn's House, The Babysitter's Club. That was one of my favorite books when I was a kid. Anyway, but it wasn't so much that. There was just too many directions that this plot was going. And it ended up being about, some homeless kids, which was fine. It's just not, I don't know. I just wasn't all that interested. But I did read it. See, I have 2 more that I read, 2 DNFs, and 2 that I'm still reading. So I'll show you those. Next, I read, these aren't actually, are they in order? Maybe. I finished Medieval Tiles by Hans van Lemmen. And I liked this. This was really interesting. I think last week I was about halfway through. This is the book where I was talking about lions and dragons and all that. And so, yeah, I finished it. And I did actually, on the almost very last page, had a little mystery solved for me. So this is a part of the floor at Winchester Cathedral, this one right here. And as you can see, the tiles, some of them look really old and some of them look really new. And so I have always wondered about that. I've wondered, are they new tiles? Or did they use some kind of really cool restoration method and just restore this little bit so we could see what they would have maybe looked like originally, or what? Like, I've always just kind of wondered about this little section. And it turns out that, yes, this woman, Diana Hull, made these tiles in, it looks like 1996. It says conservation projects such as those carried out at Winchester Cathedral in 1996 to preserve the medieval tiles have also necessitated the replacement of areas that had been lost altogether. So, yeah, the tile maker Diana Hull created these replicas in the late 90s and put them in. So that solved the mystery for me. So this is a fun little resource book. I enjoyed reading. I'm glad I did. And then this was a book that I just talked about in my summer haul the other day. This is The Looking Glass Wars by Frank Beddor. And I was very cautiously optimistic, wondering if I would like this book. So I'm not a fantasy reader. I'm not a sci-fi reader. And I haven't really enjoyed any like Alice in Wonderland adaptations as far as movies go. And so I wasn't really sure how I was going to feel about this, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to try to get that. I was actually really taken in by the artwork. So if you take the cover off, like the artwork is just so beautiful on the book. And I am so unable to resist a pretty cover. That's why I spend so much money on books that I end up DNFing, because they're disgusting, smutty. Because they're so pretty. I've learned my lesson. I don't do that so much anymore. But I was taken in by this cover. I looked it up. It didn't look like it had anything that would offend me in it. And no, it did not. I read this pretty quickly. And And I ended up giving it 3 stars, but only because the ending just really drug on. Like, I don't know. After a while, I was just like, okay, can we be done now? Like, and I probably will. There's 2 more books in the series. I probably will read those, but I'm not like in a real big hurry to. I didn't hate it. I liked it. It's just that the ending. So Alice, she goes back and forth between like Wonderland and like real Earth life, whatever, of the you know, Alice Little, who the book was based on. When she's in, this is what's funny, but when she's in like real life London, I tended to like those scenes better than when she was in Wonderland doing the fantasy and sci-fi thing. So this book didn't necessarily turn me to a fantasy or sci-fi reader, but I am willing to give more of them a chance. But I really did like the historical moments. But at the end, towards the end of the book, she does go to Wonderland and just, you know, is there a long time. And I don't know, just the stuff that was happening was kind of like maybe repetitive. It just drug on. And I was just kind of like, I just want to be done. So the story is basically Star Wars with Alice in Wonderland characters. Like, it is Star Wars to the point where the guy's almost quoting Star Wars quotes. And so I don't know. That didn't bother me. It actually helped me stay in the story because I kind of got it. Where if it was a different sort of plot line, maybe I wouldn't have quite got it because I was getting bored with the sci-fi elements. So, but anyway, yeah, it was all right. It was fine. All right. And then I had 2 DNFs. Well, kind of DNFs, like wait for later DNFs. This one is The Rescue by Lori Wick. So in my summer haul video that I put out a couple of days ago, I talked about this. I actually got 3 of these Lori Wicks, and I did a DNF just because it's not my type of book. I think it's probably going to be really clean. If you're looking for a clean read, it's a Regency romance. So, but I think they're really fine. Like, I don't think there's anything objectionable. I have read one book by Lori Wick. I've heard people that kind of have the same, I don't know, reading values, I guess, as I do, talk about them being clean. All the good reads talk about them being clean. Like, I cannot find anything weird or objectionable or anything. They're just romancy, like really romancy, and I'm just not a romance reader. The way that this couple ends up meeting, it happens like right away. And I think the little synopsis even like talks about it. So I don't think this is a spoiler, but basically he has to marry her because she's afraid her father is going to kill him. So basically, she was on a ladder and she fell, and this guy happened to be there, so he caught her. And before he can put her down, her father sees what's happened and it goes into this like raging craziness where he's like, you must marry my daughter. You must marry her now. We're going to get you married now. We have to find you a place now. And like by the end of the day, they're married. All because this guy touched his daughter because he like caught her falling, right? And because he put his hands on her, therefore he has to marry her. Like, that just was not believable, okay? That was not believable. That didn't really happen. That's not really the way it was. It wasn't that bad in the Regency times, or probably ever. But anyway, that's where their marriage of convenience, I guess, forced marriage, something, comes in. And then the rest of the book is about them finding a way to actually love each other. And there's a lot of faith content from what I understand. So they're probably really great if you are a romance reader, if you can suspend belief and just think, wow, what a fun way to hook up and all the things. I think some of my friends here will adore these stories. So I wanted to make you aware of them. It's the English Garden series. Looks like that, English Garden. They don't go in order. They're just kind of all themed. It's a themed series, right? So you can read them out of order if you want. I have The Rescue, and 2 other ones I can't remember. But I'm going to keep them because sometime in my life I might become a romance reader and I might find those things just wonderful, beautiful. Right now, I'm having a hard time believing it, and maybe I'm just too, like, black and white. Like, if it's not real, maybe that's why I can't read fantasy. I don't know. But I struggle if it's not, like, realistic. So, anyway, I am going to put them in my Jane Austen recommendation video here pretty soon. What I do for Jane Austen July. I think some of you will love them. All right, and then my other DNF also is like a just for now DNF. This is Godmersham Park by Jill Hornby. I will finish reading this. In fact, I might even finish reading this month, but I read a little bit and I did stop because it's extremely slow. But you know, after I did decide to DNF and move on to something else, I actually made myself like a whole bunch of voice notes, and I think I'm going to make a video just about why I think that reading a slow book actually can be good for us. Or a boring book can be good for us, because I was thinking about it, and so I'll probably make that video. But I probably will, like I said, I want to read this for sure. I want to finish it, but I just was in the mood for something more fast-paced, and this was not at all. So I've soft DNF'd that, and we'll pick it up later. It's basically it's kind of a Mansfield Park retelling, actually. Has Mansfield Park elements to it anyway. And that might be why it's kind of boring, because Mansfield Park is kind of boring too. Not saying it's a bad book, it's just a little boring. But that is actually the group read for Jane Austen July this year. So that actually might be a good one for people to pick up if they're looking for something adjacent. It's another one of those words I hate. I hate the word adjacent and autumnal. I'm going to start making a list of words not to say. But if you're looking for something that is Mansfield Park-ish, that's one for you. All right, and then I have been reading some from Notes from Walnut Tree Farm by Roger Deakin, and I read, this is a book that goes all year long, right? Each month. It's like his diaries, basically, this guy, Roger Deakin. And he's an English guy. He lives on the English countryside, or he lived in the English countryside, and it's just like his observations, his rants about how things are changing, kind of like I ranted in my video last week at the beginning of my vlog, just about how this is not what I signed up for when I moved here, right? Everything changing. And he just talks about nature and different things. And I'm really enjoying it. In fact, there's this one part I'm going to read to you guys. He's talking about how he's been cutting trees. He's talking about coppicing, is that how you say it? Which, when I look it up, it says coppicing is a traditional method in woodland management of cutting down a tree to a stump, which in many species encourages new shoots to grow from the stump or roots, thus ultimately regrowing the tree. So maybe like thinning it out? I'm not exactly sure, but it's something about forest management, which I'm all for that. But he was talking about how he had been doing that day. And so here's what he says, which I just thought this was such an interesting thing. I was sitting at lunch, actually, and reading this. And I just kind of put my book down and thought about this for a little bit, because I thought it was a neat sort of parallel. He says, I was thus engaged with my billhook when my aim went awry and the sharp glancing blade sliced straight through the leather glove and cut a choice fillet out of the ball of my thumb. The sudden sharp pain, the surprise and shock, then instant self-recrimination are all still vivid enough. But what really struck home was the immediate and overwhelming realization that this is what it feels like for the tree. It was a real moment of escape, as Gerard Manley Hopkins called it, a sudden illuminating impulse of sympathy with, in this case, the hazel tree, the living green hazel bough. Only the night before I had been reading Hopkins' poem, Binsey Poplars. The red sap welled up and began to trickle over the glove. I took it off gingerly and bound my handkerchief tightly round the thumb, literally grafting the severed flesh back on. And I thought that was so good. Like, it's in the context of cutting down the tree, grafting in branches, whatever. And then he realized, oh, that's like literally what just happened to me. I don't know. I thought that was good. But it's just that kind of writing, right? Where he's just kind of like contemplating his existence because he has the time to do so. Yay for him. I'm on summer break. Yay for me. Maybe I have time to contemplate my existence as well. So I'm done with March. I'm now on April, even though it's June. I'm catching up. I'm kind of catching up to Roger Deakin. But let's see. In order to get through the end of June, actually, here we go. In order to get to where I am in June right now, the closest date that he has in here is the 24th. So let's just kind of pull a few pages back. I basically only need to read 64 pages to get caught up to where I am at in June. And there's all kinds of like little breaks in the pages, right? Because it's just his journal entries. So it's kind of like that. So if I really put my mind to it, I can get caught up. And then the book that I am currently reading as well is Mary Stewart's Rose Cottage. I am loving this. It is just such a gentle, chill sort of read. I read Thornyhold, which is similar in like look and sort of setting and all that quite a few years ago. I'm actually looking at it right now thinking, maybe I want to read that again. But I'm loving this Rose Cottage. Basically, this girl goes back to her hometown to kind of chill out with her grandmother who has been sick. And when she gets there, she needs to clean out the cottage that she grew up in because her grandmother she has a bunch of stuff in there and she wants to move it all out and just stay put in one estate. She has like a couple of different places where she's lived. And so the girl is going back to the hometown to do that. But she's already encountered a couple of mysteries and stuff that just has to do with her past and the mystery of her birth and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I think it's gonna be good. I'm about, I don't know, a little over a third into it. So I think I'm gonna finish that. I think I'm gonna work on finishing that today. But I am enjoying it. So that's where I'm at. Thank you for hanging out and letting me chat with you for a little bit. Working through these things in my mind. I appreciate all of you. I hope you all are doing well and having a good summer. And I will see you soon. Bye-bye.